Hello friends, welcome to CSE Core Concepts in the series of computer networks. Let us continue with our medium access access control layer, sublayer. So in my earlier video, we have discussed about the dynamic allocation technique where we have discussed about certain assumptions to be made. And in this video, we will get started with some of the protocols which are working for that. First is we will start with the pure Aloha. So basically what happens is station will transmit data whenever a frame is ready. So in pure Aloha, it is a continuous time, that is no fixed time slot is there. Secondly, they do not have any carrier sensing capability. So they do not sense the channel before sending. So don't know that whether anybody else is using the channel or not. So simply whenever a station is ready, a frame is ready, it will send it in the transmission media without checking it. So basically it is a very uncoordinated approach and therefore it results in frequent collisions and the data is lost. To solve this problem, to know whether your data has been successfully transmitted or not, the only way is that the station will wait for an acknowledgement. If it does not receive any acknowledgement within a designated time period, then the sender will assume that the frame was not received and simply it will retransmit the frame. Now, when two frames attempt to occupy the channel simultaneously, a collision occurs and both the frames will get garbled. See, basically what happens here is that when the data is going right, it is not a small thing, one object that it will simply pass. Data is what? A collection, right? You have 1 1 0 1 1 1 continuous. A frame is going. Frame is what? It is a series of bits, right? So this is the header of the frame, this is the tail part of the frame. So it is transmitting. So sometimes it happens that one frame is just going from this channel and the end part of the previous frame and the first part of the next frame may even get collided. Even if that much collision is happening, both the frames got damaged. Suppose previous frame 1, it's transmitting. It is almost going to reach its destination, only few bits are left. Meanwhile, the next frame is coming. So the next frame's initial bits got collided with the tail of the previous frame. So that time also what happens? Both the frames got damaged, right? So if all the users retransmit, now what will happen? So collision has happened for two frames. Both the station A understood that, oh, my frame got collided. Station B just released the frame, it got collided. It will understand that my frame got collided. Now both will have to do what? Both will have to retransmit the frame. Now when both of them retransmit the frame after same time, then again a collision will happen. Understood? So they have to find out a way. Sometimes it happens, right, in our real life. If I am calling somebody, that person is calling me, we get a engaged tone, right? Again after some time, if I am calling, he is also calling, again we get an engaged tone. So generally what we do, we wait for some time and then we again proceed. So here also we can keep a timeout period. So a timeout period is not a fixed period, but it is a random amount of time, which we called as the back off time. Okay. So the station A and B will wait for some random amount of time. Now that random can be station A can wait for 1 second, station B can wait for 2 seconds, and then again try retransmitting the frames. So this randomness will help to avoid further collision, but not 100%. So now this timeout period is equal. What is the timeout period? Is that the maximum possible round trip propagation delay. So timeout period means what? One frame will reach from source to destination and again the acknowledgement will come back to the source. That round trip propagation is called as the timeout period. And this propagation time is taken from the maximum possible distance. The maximum distance a source and destination has. That twice of it, that is called as the timeout. So we have to wait for a random timeout period so as that next transmission does not collide with the previous transmission. So the example of pure Aloha collision involves more than two stations. Let us see how they attempt to transit at the same time. Let us have an example of a failed transmission. So we have a satellite communication network, let's say, and we have 3 ground stations A, B and C. All are attempting to send data frame of equal length to a central satellite or the receiver. So they are sending the data to the satellite. Okay. So station A has transmitted at, say, let's say T0 time. It starts beginning sending its frame. So that frames are going, frame is like a series of numbers, they are going one by one. The transmission will take a specific amount of time. Let's say we have calculated how much time it will take to go to the receiver. Let's say time capital T. Now station B is transmitting during the vulnerable time. The vulnerable time means what? The time where the probability of having the collision is highest. Okay. So station A's transmission is going and station B has started sending its own data frame at say time T1. Now, because the transmission of station A and B, station A is going and B is also following. So, a collision has happened and both the frames got corrupted and destroyed. So, meanwhile, there is another station that causes another collision. As B is transmitting, C also attempts to send the transmission at time T2. So, this causes the B's last portion with the C's first portion. They got collided. So depending on the time, so let us say all the transmissions are lost. So the satellite receiver does not send any acknowledgement because satellite receiver did not receive none of them. A, B, C, none of the frames it received. So the sender stations A, B and C, they are not able to, they are waiting. So they understood the timer expired. So they understood that some problem has occurred during the transmission. So now after a timeout period, again each station will try to send this frames again. So they will wait for a random back off time, that is called as a back off time, which we just discussed. So this is the back off time it will wait so as that to avoid the further collisions. So let's say station A waits for some 10 milliseconds, B waits for 5 milliseconds and C waits for 20 milliseconds. So B with the shortest backup time retransmits its frame successfully. So first B has sent, then A is waiting after 5 milliseconds. So meanwhile B's frame has reached and C is having the highest backup time, that is 20 milliseconds. By that time B and A has successfully sent their frames. So this is how they can avoid. But again the chances of collisions can be again. So a variation of aloha is the slotted aloha, where we can say that you cannot send, the time is not continuous, but we are dividing the time slots into discrete parts, that is slots, right? And you can be allowed to send the transmission only at the beginning. Let's say you have divided the time as 8:1, 8:2, 8:3. Now 8 o'clock 1 minute you can send a transmission, but if your 1 minute has crossed, it is like say 8 o'clock 1 minute and 10 seconds, you cannot send the frame. You have to wait for the next slot, that is at 8 o'clock 2 minutes. Okay. So the channel is divided into fixed length slots and users are only allowed to transmit at the beginning of the slot. So these time slots correspond to the packet time exactly. Now these slots are computed based on that packet timing, that how much time a packet will take to reach its destination and to come. See, acknowledgements are not considered right now. Okay, so how much time? So based on that, we have designed the slots. So this synchronization will reduce the chance of collisions between devices and hence the efficiency will increase. So all users are synchronized in this slot and all users know when to send the packet. Okay, and as a result, users are also not wasting time that collisions and retransmission, right? So when a user wants to transmit a frame, it will wait until the next available slot comes and then it will send. So if the frame is received successfully, receiver will send an acknowledgement. But if it is not received within the timeout period, the sender is going to assume that it was damaged and it will retransmit in the next slot. So let us see an example where a station A wants to transmit a packet. C also wants to transmit a packet. both of them start their transmission at the beginning of slot 1. So what will happen? Collision. Okay. Now B wants to transmit a packet. B starts its transmission at the beginning of the next slot. No other stations transmit in this slot. Okay, at the beginning of slot 2. So no other stations are beginning. So B's transmission got successful. Since A and C got collided, they thought let go one slot and then again try. So meanwhile, B got the next slot and its transmission became successful. So collision resolution means what? The packets from A and C that collided in slot 1 are considered lost. So both the stations will use a random back of time and attempt to retransmit the packet at the beginning of the future slot, right? So this is so now A can attempt at the next slot and B can wait one slot and then attempt. Okay, so this is the only way how the collisions can be prevented in case of Aloha and slotted Aloha. So let us have a comparison between pure Aloha and slotted Aloha. So the time used in the pure Aloha is a continuous time which is unsynchronized. Whereas in slotted Aloha, the time is discretely divided and it is synchronized in slots. The type of transmission in pure Aloha is that any time the station can transmit, but in case of slotted Aloha, you can transmit only at the beginning of the slot. The collisions in pure Aloha are very, very frequent because you have no coordination, no synchronization. But as compared to pure Aloha, the slotted Aloha, the collisions are less frequent. And the synchronization is not required in pure Aloha, but it is required in slotted Aloha. So I hope you understood these two protocols, Aloha, pure Aloha and slotted Aloha. In these two approaches, it is understood that there is no carrier sensing. Both the times, in both the methods, we did not speak about carrier sensing, that the station can sense whether somebody is using or not. Okay, that capability is not there. Now in my next videos, we will talk about some of the protocols which have the carrier sensing capability. Okay, so this Aloha, slotted Aloha and those devices are a little bit having different assumptions. So in that we will assume carrier sensing and then sending our data so as to reduce the amount of collisions. I hope you understood this video. If you understood, please press the like button and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to CSE Core Concepts. Thank you.